This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Mirror, mirror, show her to me. Show me the princess. Perfect.
Welcome back to 26 Frames of Spooktober. There is a debate amongst the world. A debate that doesn't reach a level as much as which High School Musical is the best, but it is pretty close in terms of arguments. The debate I'm talking about is which Scooby Doo is the best one. Is it Scooby Doo 2002 or Scooby Doo 2 2004, which came out 2 years after Scooby Doo 2002? I know how I say High School Musical 2 is the best in the series, and the greatest sequel ever made. Well, Scooby Doo 2002 is the best non-sequel ever made. It is the best first movie in a franchise, and the best in the franchise itself. I know this will spark controversy. Philip DeFranco will make an entire video called Why People Are Freaking Out About 24 Frames of Nick, and it's because of these controversial words. Scooby Doo 2002 is better than Scooby Doo 2. I asked on my Twitter which was the better movie, and luckily a few of you knew the right answer. But there were some naysayers.
Yo, Nick, what's up?
Hey man, I heard that you think Scooby Doo 2 is better than Scooby Doo 2002. What's up with that?
Yeah, I just think the second one's better.
Yo, how does it feel being wrong? Scooby Doo 2002 is a live action movie that came out in 2002 based on the anime of the same name. Scooby Doo was a marvelous show, where this gang, known as the Rey Mysterio Gang, would travel around the world solving many myths and crimes where people believed ghosts, ghouls, or monsters were involved. The show was a banger, so naturally a live action adaptation was produced to make a big spanking successful paycheck at the box office. The movie was shot in the land down under and received monumental praise from critics. Lame jokes, fuck you. How can you say this joke is bad?
I'm Mary Jane.
Like, that is my favorite name.
Really?
Yeah.
You get it? It's because he loves the devil's lettuce. The main characters of Scooby-Doo are Shaggy, Fred, Velma, Daphne, and Scooby-Doo himself. Rewatching this movie from my childhood, I was blown away by how genius this movie can be. And I'm actually talking serious right now. The set design and locations in this movie is honestly really cool and extremely iconic. Every location just sticks in your mind. The entire movie takes place on Spooky Island, and you're constantly going around different places on the island where you can't even tell where the fuck you are anymore. But it is so much fun and works wonders for pacing. The characters are all basically faithful to their original cartoon counterparts, but Shaggy steals the show in every scene. He acts like he was straight up ripped out of the cartoon itself.
Well, Garcon, let's get 2 more.
My immersion watching this movie was furthered to when I found myself eating a burger and Shaggy was holding one in his hand. My mind was blown. Let's dive into the original and better movie and see how it still holds up. So the film begins with the classic Warner Brothers logo, except it's very cheekily switched out for Scooby-Doo's dog tag. We follow the gang undergoing one of their classic mystery-solving adventures, and the first 5 minutes are basically just to get every single homage and inside joke from the original cartoon out of the way.
I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids and you dumb dog.
Every single classic line is pretty much spoken here,
It's not our fault you always get kidnapped.
I do not always get kidnapped.
and we see the very classic costumes for a moment before they're ditched later in the movie because they look like actual dog shit in real life. The gang gets a little frustrated with each other, they each debate on which High School Musical is the best, and Shaggy is just like, why can't we all enjoy all of them? Which is fucking stupid. So the gang breaks up within the first 5 minutes. Let me tell you that this was a perfect move to have. The first live action Scooby-Doo movie instantly having the classic gang not be a gang. Coming out with that redemption story this quick is ballsy. So the gang splits up, but it turns out that a whole 2 years later, each of them are asked to visit the Spooky Island to solve a mystery. They all get parent trapped at the airport, and fucking Scooby dresses up like an old lady, and it's weird. It's weird because the movie makes it seem like every single kid is attracted to this dog dressed as a lady.
They don't allow big dogs on the plane.
They all get on a plane to head straight to the island, and Shaggy meets Mary Jane, the girl with the name of Weed. The entire interaction here is incredible, because this girl starts eating dog treats out of the blue, and Shaggy is just like, holy shit, let's have babies. Just imagine someone sitting next to you eating dog treats. Freddy flicks Scooby, so in return Scooby kills Fred. When everyone arrives on the island, we are greeted with the great legend himself, goddamn Rowan Atkinson, aka Mr. Bean. It kinda saddens me that he's very underused in this movie, but simply having him exist in this movie multiplies the quality of this movie to beyond anything. Does Scooby Doo 2 have Rowan Atkinson? I think not, motherfucker. So Mr. Bean tells the gang that the kids on the island all act very strangely by the time they leave, and they want the group to find out why. So later that night, Velma attends some ritual on the island, and we meet some very evil looking guy, and a goddamn luchador. What the hell is going on? So the ritual is apparently a real ritual, but we don't know that till later on. So we cut to Scooby hanging out at some nice bar, and we get a genuinely funny line. It's a stupid line, but fuck, I love it.
We got a Mr. Doo here. I got a call for a Mr. Doo.
Melvin Doo?
Nah, Scooby.
Melvin Doo, what a guy. But we then cut to Daphne, who finds some guy cooking chicken, and she hates that because she's vegan. And then we cut back to Scooby, who goes to a nearby forest and comes across the first monster in the movie. Now let me tell you right now that these monsters are terrifying. These skinny ass demonic creatures stuck with me so hard growing up. Something about the very terrible early 2000s CGI actually benefits the design of the creature even more in making it more further from reality. Like, I just fucking hate these things. So Scooby runs away from the monster and runs to Shaggy and screams of what he just saw, but of course Shaggy doesn't believe him. They then go to check out a nearby closed down amusement house, and the rest of the gang starts to arrive as well. In this house they get attacked each in their own way, leading for Shaggy and Scooby to get consumed by gross genitalia and, well, fucking die. Meanwhile, Fred and Velma come across a very weird IKEA training video.
Hey, sorry, bro. I will crush your bones into dust!
And Daphne comes across the Allspark. When Scooby and Shaggy escape the genitalia, they come across a TV set, and we get a very artful 10-minute scene where the two just burp and fart over and over and over and over again. I'm gonna cry. This is too powerful. So the whole gang researches everything they've learned so far, whatever it was, I don't really know. And Velma gets wasted on that hard shit and tells some random guy about the time they left Scrappy Doo on the side of the road. That'll be very important in the finale, so remember that. While everyone is at this bar, it gets fucking raided like a Quackity livestream, and monsters come in killing everyone and kidnapping them. Fred fucking dies, so does Velma. The entire imagery of these creatures dragging lifeless bodies is just holy shit. So Shaggy, Scooby, Daphne, and Mary Jane are the only ones that survived last night's raid. Except that weirdly enough, they weren't, so we then get an entire scene that involves goddamn Sugar Ray.
More like Sugar Gay!
How much closer to 2002 can you get than Sugar Ray?
Sugar gay!
And then we find out Fred is still kicking it with the homies.
And I was like, later on.
Fred,
What up, dog? And, dog?
But never mind, they're all full of gas, so we get a chase sequence where Tony Hawk shreds on his belly, and it turns out that Mary Jane is actually a demon. Just check out that incredible tracking on her demonic eyes. They escape the gassy people and arrive at a ritual area from the start of the movie. Shaggy and Scoob get in a fight because Shagman doesn't believe Scoob about Mary Jane being a demonic girl.
Raggy, Larry Raiders are raining and raps!
I am an Olympus in his here.
Roll rip!
Still not
Here, roll rip right now!
So Scoob falls in a hole. Shaggy dives in right after him and comes across a pool of souls from Hercules, so Shaggy sends Fred and Velma's souls back to them, as well as Daphne because she died too, and Fred gets a little creepy.
Hey, I can look at myself naked.
But eventually each soul goes to the right body, and they plan to rescue Scooby because he got captured by Mr. Bean, who turned out to be the villain? Kinda. So Scooby is about to be sacrificed, and Shaggy helps that happen, and we just stare at Scooby's lifeless corpse for a bit. It's weird that they just freeze framed on that in the actual movie. I never remembered that. Scooby's soul fucks up some machines and he comes back to life, and we find out that Mr. Bean is actually Scrappy Doo.
Power!
The image of Mr. Bean getting his face ripped off is something I will never forget. So Scrappy's plan was to absorb all of the souls and become bigger so he can star in Ang Lee's Hulk movie. Meanwhile, Daphne is pulling some badass moves on the luchador from earlier atop, and she lets in some sunlight with a hard KO. Scrappy's plan is foiled within 2 minutes, and the mystery of Spooky Island is solved, I guess. The plot of Scooby Doo is just kind of all over the place and very, very vague at times in terms of explanation, but you know what? So what? It's a fun movie. It's bad. Really, really bad, but the energy never stops. It's better than the second movie because of many things. Mr. Bean, for instance, is one. The pacing in this movie is at breakneck speed, and the overall energy is just beyond cheesy and adorable. It's hard for me to look at this movie with a cynical eye, just because of how stupidly I can smile at the campiness of it all. I mean, if you really believe the second one is better, let me know in the comments below, because the only good reason I could find was this one. You can't really get another movie like Scooby Doo 2002 anymore. It's really adult at times, and doesn't hold back on batshit stuff. And the entire motivation for Scooby Doo is very underdeveloped and strange. Like, they just kicked him out at one point, and then he comes back and just wants to eat Scooby-Doo, and then what? What is his plan? He just wants to eat souls and get big, and just get big. what else? But, you know, it's stupid, and I enjoy stupid. I really enjoy stupid. The Scooby-Doo movies out now look like this. So just forget the new ones exist, and just remember the classic. The real star of the entire movie is Shaggy. His entire performance makes up for the very iffy writing, and I'll never get over that damn immersion burger moment. I feel like I connected with him, and that's why I built a website in honor of this week's sponsor, Squarespace. If you go to squarespace.com/24framesofnick, you can build a stunningly beautiful website dedicated to your favorite Shaggy. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform with no updates, no plugins, no patches, whatever. With 24/7, 365-day support, you can guarantee that you'll always have someone to help you on your site day or night. For all of your questions on how to properly build a gallery shrine to Shaggy, start your free trial today at squarespace.com/24framesofnick and use code 24framesofnick to get 10% off your first purchase. Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Thanks to my boy Alpha Media for his wrong opinion on which Scooby-Doo is better. Follow me on Twitter and scream at me why I'm wrong, or support me on Patreon and give me money for my wrong choices, because YouTube is very unreliable. And pet your dog today in honor of Scoob. If this video gets 10,000 likes, I will throw out my cat and get a dog, because dogs are better.